Okay, so welcome back to Perpetual. I'm Benjamin, and today I'm joined with Finn here. And we helped Finn get his Irish citizenship. We helped people in his family get Irish citizenship again and basically reclaim EU freedom. Finn also has a British passport. He's from the UK, but he's eligible for Irish citizenship, just like 10% of British people. So that's millions of people that are eligible for an Irish passport, which is one of the best in the entire world. And a lot of them don't even know about it. They think the process is super complex, super difficult, and that's why we're here to help you, figure out this process and get you that citizenship quickly. If you're an American watching this, millions of Americans are also eligible for this. You can reconnect with your ancestors, get one of the best passports in the entire world. Sort of what made you want to get the passport in the first place? Was it because of Brexit and realizing that you still wanted access to the EU, and with just having a British passport, you didn't have that anymore?
Well, that's exactly the reason. Access to the EU. A big thing that changed my perspective was when they brought in the visa system, where British nationals would have to pay and apply for a visa to enter Europe. It was obviously something that wasn't a big financial cost for the visa, but a hassle that would have been had to be dealt with every time you went to Europe, which for most people is, myself included, is something that happens 3, 4, 5 times a year heading to Europe. So getting the European passport, giving me access to Europe, was extremely helpful and has continued to be across the last couple of years.
Yeah, and like since getting the passport, have you had chance to use it much?
Yeah, I've used it plenty of times. It's also handy just to not have to worry about the 90-day rule. We can just fly to Europe. There's no stress. There's no worrying about time and of the essence. It's you can take Europe how you want to take it.
10% of all British people are eligible for an Irish passport, which is like a crazy amount of people when you think about it. Um, and I think that a lot of people probably get intimidated by the process. But, if you have someone helping you along the way that knows the process and is a professional, then it's super simple. I mean, like, how did you find the process dealing with us and sort of like that whole side of things? Like, did you go into it thinking it was going to be this like stressful experience and complicated? And
So that's the reason I went with Perpetual, is because originally when I made the effort to do the visa, I was struggling. The paperwork, the website, everything was just a hassle. I found it tricky to use. Wasn't the easiest format for the Irish website. It would often crash. It took me about 15 times to make the initial application, and I just got fed up with the process of using the Irish website, and I thought, I'm too busy to be spending my time dealing with this. Providing the documents is very simple, but actually the correspondence and other aspects of it just make it tricky and time consuming. So for me, it was perfect just to hire a company like yourself to speed up that process and just save me so much time.
yeah, and I think like, this probably applies to you as well. Like the price, when you consider the fact that you're getting, one of the best passports in the world, you don't have to deal with this stress. Like I think the price is very competitive. Considering that if you do it yourself, you're gonna basically it's gonna take like sometimes even years. You're gonna be dealing with like you said, no correspondence, a bunch of stress. You're just kind of left in this limbo for a long time. And if you just pay the right person to get it done with, then you don't have to deal with this stress. Because I know for many people, if they have a full-time job and they're also trying to deal with something that's this like pretty complex, it's just like too much for them to handle. They really only have free time, maybe late in the evening or at the weekends, right? So it's like it's pretty difficult to do it.
Well, exactly. It took me the best part of 2 months to get anywhere with it, and from start to finish of you guys, it was space of a week to get everything moving because you took the stress out and the stress and the work out of it. It was taking far too long on my own, and using a company like yourselves just means you don't have to spend as much time. You dedicate 3 hours maybe maximum, and then it's all down to you guys, and it's so much faster.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, like, I'm glad that you had a good experience. with Perpetual. And like also something I think this kind of applies maybe more to Americans that are considering getting an Irish passport. Like, did you kind of see it in the way that you can reconnect with your heritage? Because obviously one of your ancestors is from Ireland. You have like a big connection to that country. So do you kind of see it as a way to reconnect with your ancestors?
Yeah, for sure. So for me, for example, I felt quite guilty getting the passport because I'd never actually been to Ireland prior to getting the passport. So it was a bit bizarre, and I felt almost like I was cheating and cheating the country almost. But I've since been to Ireland 3 times since getting the passport. I felt like I should have done. I've also still got family in Ireland, so I made the effort to go and see them and see where my grandma grew up, um,
Right.
and went and visited their farm, which was really interesting and like you say, brought me back to my heritage and back to my roots.
Yeah, and I think like that like one of the biggest things about an Irish passport, like let's just take just someone that's British for example. The Irish passport gives you so many benefits. Like for example, you can visit visa-free Russia and China without a visa, where with the British one you need a visa. You can basically visit like all the countries that the UK needs a visa for. If you have an Irish passport, you can visit. And maybe the average person doesn't want to go to Russia or China, but like for people, it's just good to have that freedom. And also, just the freedom, like you said, to go to Europe whenever you want. Just think about like how many people want to retire in Spain, right? If you want to retire in Spain without an EU citizenship, the process is horrible. You have to constantly every year renew a visa, prove financial documents. You can't work there on most visas. You're just in this, like, you have a lot of restrictions on you. If you have an Irish passport, you can just fly to Spain, register in 5 minutes at the local town hall, and now you're a Spanish resident. And you can stay for however long you want. You can buy property super easily. You can open a bank account super easily. And, Spain are right now considering putting a 100% tax on non-EU nationals buying properties in the country. So, if you're so that means that if you're a British person or just an American and you want to retire in Spain and buy a property, you could be paying double the amount just to buy a property because there'll be 100% tax on the purchase. Where if you have an Irish passport, there's no there's you get the normal price, and with 10% of people in the UK being eligible, that's millions of people that are just sitting on the fact that they could get one of the best passports in the entire world.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you. So it's not for myself working remotely online. It doesn't make much odds for my working environment and conditions because I can travel Europe and I can work remotely, even if I didn't have a European passport because it's all online. But for my two younger siblings who both work doing seasons of activities, so ski seasons and summer seasons in Greece, I know that it greatly benefited them having their Irish passport just because it gave them the flexibility to apply for a lot more jobs and work for smaller companies that weren't able to provide the visa process. So it definitely opened up tons of options and opportunities for them. And they definitely received job offers far quicker the second time round when they had the Irish passport compared to the first time when they only had the British passport. So I think for the younger generation and parents that have got kids that are 16, 17, 15, and they know their kids are adventurous and probably want to do these things like ski seasons and other activities in Europe, it's going to be greatly beneficial for them as well.
Yeah, definitely. And that's one of the biggest downsides to Brexit is that young people don't have freedom anymore to just, go get a job in Europe for the summer, go get a job for a ski season. For a ski season, they just can't sponsor your visa, can they? They're gonna go with an EU applicant every single time over a non-EU applicant because it's just so much more simple.
I think these companies want to employ British people, but I think the benefit of having the British and Irish passport is just fundamentally the difference is because they have a stack of paperwork this big or this big, depending on your passport. And you're going to go for the easiest applicant that's going to provide the best and easiest transition into the workplace. And that's what every company would do.
So let's talk a little bit about how somebody can actually get the passport. So obviously some people might have more complex family trees and stuff like that. I mean, for you it was pretty simple because your grandmother was born in Ireland. So it's pretty easy to go back, get her documents. Where, if someone maybe is a bit older, or, it's your great grandparent, then it can get a bit more complex. But if it's your grandparent, it's a very quick process because we can basically get you on the foreign births register because you're technically already a citizen. You're just registering your birth abroad. So yeah, if you one of your grandparents was born in Ireland, then it's very very simple, to get this done. If it's your great grandparent, that's when it might get a bit more complex. And if you think that one of your grandparents, great grandparents, or even in some cases great great grandparent was born in Ireland, then basically we can, take a look at that situation specifically for you, like we did with Finn, and figure out if you're eligible. Because, you can try go on ancestry.com and figure out, some stuff. But unless you have a professional genealogist look at your family tree and figure it out and look at the records in Ireland, you don't know for sure. Because these websites don't really check records properly. But if you know for certain that your grandparent was born in Ireland, or your great grandparent, then you're basically eligible for the citizenship. And the process would be, clicking the link in the description of this video. You can check out our page and guide on getting Irish citizenship, and then basically book a call and get started on your application and find out if you're eligible or not. So it's a very simple process, and I think that Finn had a good experience. He got his passport much quicker. We also helped his siblings get the passport as well. And now his family has the freedom to go live in Europe whenever they want, and not deal with all that hassle anymore. So for him, it's been a huge quality of life upgrade. So is there anything else you want to say about the process or Ireland?
Well, just thank you very much, Benjamin, for your hard work and helping me get through this process, and the rest of my family. It's helped us out a lot. Very beneficial, and just easing up a busy family's workload was just always helpful. Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, guys, that was a quick talk with Finn here. And I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to get Irish citizenship, you can click the link in the description.